Biggest takeaway and lessons that you learned from your time at Westside, more specifically, what was the most valuable lesson that you learned from Louie? There's a lot. This one's weird because I'll answer some things about it, but I'm not really keen on trying to use somebody's passing as a way to get clicks, hits, and traffic. I think that's bullshit. Um, and it's hard to watch other people do it. You know, after somebody that you were very close to for so long passes, you know, then you see. So it's, I don't know if I'm at a point where I want to sit down and say, okay, here's the tribute to, you know, Louie Simmons at this point, because right now, and since he's passed, is that time period where everybody's trying to maximize clicks, hits, and shit for their own benefit. And that's not about, that's fucked up. In my mind, it's just fucked up. You know, they think it's respectful. They think I don't see it that way. I see it as you're trying to leverage something, you know, anyhow. Just to answer the question, most valuable lesson, there's dude, there isn't one. I mean, it's a complex relationship, right? So I probably first met him in the mid to late 80s. No, yes, because he would be in the warm-up room of some of the meets I was in when I was competing, and that's kind of what led me to coming to Westside. And then, like I said earlier, the time I was at Westside was the span of the whole dimmer time period. So I think it's like 13, 14 years, something like that. I guess what I'll say for now is if it wasn't for Louie, there would not be an EliteFTS. That's a fact. You know, so there's a few reasons for that. The first was I was helping him while I was there, still working as a trainer, doing the seminars, and then would go on the consulting gigs or whatever you want to call it with him for many years. But then he just got fucking tired. He just got tired of doing it, didn't want to do it anymore, and just told me to do it. So that was kind of the start there from that side. The next one would be when when I first got a computer. I mean, we're going back, like some of you guys listening to this had a computer your whole entire life. The first time I got a computer was after I graduated from college. You know, so my brother put together a computer out of spare parts. So I log on, you know, the internet and the whole dial up type shit. And of course, if I'm searching, you know, Westside Barbell Conjugate, stuff like that. And I found, you know, a website that was doing a Q&A from called deepsquatter.com, which was Jason Burnell. And he had some stuff on there from Louie. He was, I don't want to say copy and pasted. He was posting some of Louie's articles and, you know, just doing his best to answer some questions. And a lot of the stuff that I was reading wasn't really what we were doing. So then I went in the gym that next day and told Louie, you know, about this. And he said, well, why don't you just, you know, email them and tell them what the fuck they're supposed to do. And so, you know, I did that. And so that was bringing the conjugate method, Westside method, online. And that was the start of what became our Q&A, which was the first page that we launched, which was a forum type of page, just dealing with Q&A shit in regards, pretty much all of it in regards to what we were doing at Westside at the time. And I was still there. So it was exactly what we were doing, which is what Louie wanted me to put out there. Just tell them everything that we do. Don't hold anything back. Tell them everything. So moving forward from there, my wife was training in the night crew. I was in the morning crew. She was fed up with her job at that point in time. We had founded a business for my personal training and she was going to try to do something with the training side. Because I was working as a personal trainer and I moved to an independent contractor from employee, so I could try to leverage, so I could try to build a business for one thing. And at that time, it was going to be more the seminars and the consulting was kind of what I was thinking at that time, but then realized I wasn't going to be able to make anywhere near the same as what I was making as a trainer. So that wasn't a good path. She's in the gym complaining about her job. And then Louie said something about, well, why don't you just sell the shit that I have? Because he was selling accessories, things like the Man Ray, bar attachment, squat bar attachment, safety squat bars was another one. And there was sleds, sled straps, a squat belt, which was, oh my God, that was terrible. And a handful of other items that we didn't have money for. So he gave us everything that he had on consignment, gave us all the contacts that we had, and basically told us how to go about, ordering it, payment terms, all the other type of things. So we took that stuff off of his plate and we're selling his videos as well. So that's the fourth part, so there's all these different factors that kind of play into this that created EliteFTS. So, and nobody would deny that. That's been around for that whole time period, that he played a significant role. And not only that, but also in the earlier years, which were hard. I mean, there was a decade maybe that we didn't pay ourselves. I mean, it was a long time until there was any real revenue generated to be able to hire anybody. Then revenue generated to pay ourselves. We were paying other people before we were paying ourselves for years. And so he was referring people. I mean, he was a significant part of all this. So what's the most valuable lesson that I have is when I said earlier that there's a handful of people that came in my life. The handful of people that came in my life made a significant difference. He is one of them. And I'm talking less than 5 people. And he's why I do what I do. This whole live, learn, pass on thing, he's a big part of that. A huge part of that. So I don't know if that's a lesson. I don't know if that's a lesson or not. It's bigger than that. So I'll just stay with that for now. Can address the other stuff later when it comes to that. But I would say I'm trying to think of something that's going to be more relatable. Um, Damn, there's so many different things. You know, I mean, there's a big, you know, that big one, right? Then there's so many other ones that, you know what, I would say here's another one. To not give a fuck about what other people think. And I understand that sounds abrasive, but I'm talking about the critics and all the other kind of stuff. Is I can remember many times where, you know, Jim and I would see something online and then we'd say, hey man, Louie, you know, so-and-so saying this bullshit about you. And he's like, who the fuck is that? And I don't want to mention any names, but it would be somebody that everybody knew, you know, in the strength and conditioning realm. He didn't fucking have a clue who these people were. And so we'd say, well, he's saying this, and this. And then his default was always going to be, well, what's he fucking squat? What's his best squat? What was his best squat? What did he ever do? And then he just didn't give a shit. You know, it was so indifferent to all that crap that's a lesson there, because I didn't start getting hit with that until, you know, a few years into the business. And then more so after that, he just realized they're just fucking trolls. You know, they don't mean anything. But the funny part with him was, you know, it always came back to, well, fuck them. What do they squat? You know, which was a funny ass thing.